Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Wife Me Mommy moment of the week. And this week we are featuring the lovely, the fashionable, the fabulous Sherie Nevett. She is a wife, she is a mom, and she is a fashion designer. Welcome, Sherie. It's so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Shelly. I'm so delighted to be here with you today. Congratulations to you on your YouTube show, and it's going to be fun. So thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this. Like, you were one of the people I really wanted to interview when I first started doing these. And I was just like, she's just so fly. Like, I have to interview her just about because I think your life is just so amazing. And I love the designs and the fashion. Like, I'm not a fashionista per se, but I like I love fashion, and I actually got to meet you through my sister Sasha. And you let us borrow a couple of pieces for V3, our singing group. And that's how I first got familiar with your work. And I was just like, wow, she does some amazing work. And I just love how colorful and fun and unique all your pieces are. So it's so
Thank you.
good for me to have you on today. So we're going to chat about life as a wife, a mom, and a business woman. So I want to know, like, when did you start designing, and like, when did you decide to actually launch out and go into business for yourself?
Well, I actually started at a very young age designing. I was always into just playing dress up, and I guess my style inspiration was given to me from my parents. It's just innate from my mom and my dad. I mean, they always just had us in, the boutiques and shopping for either the latest trends or those timeless classic pieces. So I remember as a little girl, I had these two, medium-sized trunks, and I used to just play with my clothing. So growing up as a PK, Pentecostal, apostolic, Pentecostal holiness, we always had to just cover up a lot. So instead of me telling myself what I can't buy or what I can't wear, I used to just layer a lot. So if it was a sleeveless dress, I used to layer it with like a bolero or a scarf or, a mock neck, like what I have on today, to not show my arms at church. Or if it was a, pair of pants, like skinny leg leggings, we were brought up, during that time where we had to wear skirts. So I used to just put my skirts on top of my leggings, on top of those pants to make it look like I just have on, tights and this, with the skirt. But whatever I could do to kind of push the envelope, because it was just kind of like I couldn't, contain who God created me to be. Like, I knew I love style, I love design, I love colors, I love fashion. I just had to tweak it and make it my own. So that's when I kind of like started playing around with fashion. Fast forward to 7 years ago, I launched 8 years ago, I launched Sherie Nevett apparel. And that's when, it became a professional career for me. After I studied fashion marketing at the University of Alabama. Right after college, I started at Neiman Marcus and kind of just worked my way up to being a wholesale rep and, a stylist, celebrity stylist. And then, of course, I always knew I wanted to be a designer. So professionally, it started 7, 8 years ago.
Okay. And that sparked another question for me that I'm actually interested in, is that you actually worked the steps before you launched into your own career.
Yeah.
And what can you say to women that actually want to start something? What can you encourage them to do to work the steps?
Well, I would just always say humble beginnings are just so important to me. Embrace those beginnings because that's where you learn. I'm so hands-on experience. Yes, I have my undergrad in fashion marketing and of course, all of that, but my BA in fashion marketing. But I really learned when I had that hands-on experience when I interned at Neiman Marcus when I was still in college, and then they hired me back after I graduated from the University of Alabama. So just starting from the ground up really taught me how to, of course, about humility. I tell all my mentees, stay humble. And being humble is not a force. It shouldn't be forced. It should be natural. But stay humble. Don't be afraid to sweep the floor, vacuum the floor, dust the counters, clean the stock room. I mean, all of that prepared me for today because I'm still doing those same things today with my company, honestly. So you never stop doing those things. When you are a CEO and you have a vision and you want things done in the spirit of excellence, those things that you've learned from the ground, all the way up, and I shouldn't say up, but, to this point, you will still implement stockroom presentations and, making sure that your brand is featured and operating in the spirit of excellence. So humble beginnings are so important, but forever stay humble. That's very important, but you'll just learn so much along the way, but you definitely have to, I just tell everyone, you just can't jump into being a boss, jump into being a CEO. You have to be a student first. You have to train, you have to, educate yourself. And I'm forever learning. I will forever learn. I think that's the key as well. You should always constantly educate yourself on, current events or things that you're seeing that shall foretake in the future. So yeah, that's my little key to those who maybe want to be a CEO. Just always just embrace those humble beginnings.
Yeah, that is so awesome because so often, especially in today's society, it's pretty much like a microwave mentality. Like everyone wants it now, 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 and
Exactly.
they despise like the humble beginnings and the parts that aren't so pretty because they are the more tedious parts when you are sweeping and cleaning. It's not the funnest thing, but
Exactly.
all the while it's preparing you for your next step and your next step and your next step. And you look back and you
Exactly.
say, oh, that's why I had to take that route. And that's why, I now know why I had that particular job because it actually
Exactly.
prepared me for what I am doing now. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
Such great tips, especially for young people. So actually, what I want to get into now is how
Okay.
did you and your husband meet each other, and what was the transition like from singlehood to being a wife?
Great question. Funny question. I'm going to try to make this really, really short because I know we only have a few moments to spare. But I met my husband at Starbucks in Lenox Mall. I was actually working on a Sunday, which I dreaded. This is when I was like right out of college.
Mhm.
So I was probably 2 months, 3 months into like, enjoying Atlanta, but it was a Sunday. My colleague at the time, her name is Mizrak. She's a beautiful, I call her my Ethiopian princess. She was like, Sherie, can you get me some coffee? I don't really feel like going out to Starbucks getting any coffee. I was working at Neiman's. And I was like, sure. At the time, I didn't drink coffee. I wasn't a coffee connoisseur like I am now. I love my coffee. So I was like, sure, I'll get you a cup because I just need to get out. It's a Sunday. I want to be at church. And by this time, it was probably because the mall during that time opened like around 12. So I want to say it was probably like 1 or 2 o'clock. So I got her afternoon coffee. To make a long story longer, I was ordering and I know we kind of like made eye contact. And so after I ordered, he actually, got up and approached me once I was, waiting for my coffee. And that's when we met. And it was just kind of like, I know it sounds so cliche. For me, it was love at first sight. I was like, oh my goodness, like, he's a real man. At the time I was like, like 21. I was like, he's a real man. He was suited and booted. He had just left church. And I come to find out he just left church after the fact I found that out. But anyway, I was so nervous. So he asked me my number, and he asked for my name and all of that. He did not ask for my number, and I was so disappointed. I was like, why did he not ask for my number? So anyway, I got the call from my colleague after I met Bobby, and so probably like maybe a month or two later, we ran into each other again, and he remembered me, and of course I remembered him. And then that day we exchanged numbers, and that same night we went out to dinner, and I had my best girlfriend at the time. Her name is Stephanie. She trailed me to my first date because we have some crazies out there. So I was during that time I watched a lot of Lifetime movies. So I'm just like, okay, even though Atlanta, we're meeting at a busy place, you're still going to follow me. So she stayed in the car. She was just kind of like, because we actually sat out on the patio of this restaurant in Buckhead, and so she saw everything we did. So that first date, it was funny. I drilled him about Jesus and, about are you saved, all of that, just trying to see where his head was or whatever. He was like, this girl is weird. So it was a horrible first date, so much so that he saluted me, like he like peace out. But for whatever reason, he called me back, and we tried another date, and of course now we're married. So it started off rough, and I know I was just so nervous because I've never met anyone like my husband prior to, because I was just 21. So, I met a lot of, young guys or whatever, but it was definitely a bumpy start, but here we are today, many, many, many years later.
Wow, that's such an awesome story.
It's crazy.
I love those kinds of stories. I love to hear how couples met and just to see like where they are today. Hold on one second though, because my baby just walked in.
Oh, hi, little one. Oh my goodness. How old is she now?
2. She turned 2 in January.
Oh my goodness. So she's really close to Sir Bobby.
Yes.
I didn't realize they were that close. He'll be 2 next month.
Yes.
Hi.
Let me give her to her dad. I don't know how.
Okay.
Oh, crazy girl.
It happens. And they always find their moms first. This is what I'm learning. I'm like, your dad is right there. I'm like, do you see that big, black, strong man over there? He's right there.
Yes, it's like they will walk right past and be
exactly. Like, I am learning.
Yes.
Like you've already probably figured that out, but I'm learning. I'm like, okay, so.
All my kids, they still follow me around, and my husband.
But we did the same thing to my mom. So it's a motherly thing. They feel that you're going to feed them.
Yeah.
You're going to clean them. Yeah. You're going to bake all of the above. So
it's a source of comfort. And that's
exactly.
Because like they know that you're like the safe place for them to land. You're like
exactly. So I was thinking about that yesterday. I said, God, I'm just thankful. Thank you for that. I don't understand it, but I appreciate that you gave, because I didn't think I had that nurturing side. So obviously my son, he feels some type of, nurturing aura from me. So thank you.
We talked about that last time. Like, I don't have that motherly thing, but
I guess my son, he senses that I have something's there. He's bringing it out of me. That's for sure.
Okay, so that
you should not edit that out either. Your daughter coming in.
I'm not. I'm going to leave it in. So that leads me to my question of how has motherhood changed you? Now you are a mommy. Like, how has that been for you?
Oh my goodness. I am just so obsessed with Sir Bobby, which is he's 22 months now. And, motherhood has taught me how to be patient. I'm type A personality, and I'm by the book. I have a set schedule. I've always had. I'm always 30 minutes early before an appointment. But Sir Bobby has taught me how to be patient, and how schedules, you do have a schedule, but you have to be flexible being a mom, because things change constantly. And I'm learning that more and more. Even since the last time we spoke, I'm learning that more and more. The older he becomes, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to have to drop this appointment for today and pick up, I have to, focus on Sir Bobby right now. So he's taught me about patience, but he's taught me so much about just unconditional love. And I thought I knew that, just, of course, the love that God gives us on a daily basis. But Sir Bobby, he's just such a loving person. So he's taught me how to love a little bit more in terms of like unconditionally. So being patient, being flexible, and then unconditional love. My life has changed in those aspects.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Like, did you you and your husband say, okay, now we're like ready to be parents? Like, how was that talk for you guys? Did you guys talk about it? Like, were you just like, we feel like we're ready now? Like, what was
Yeah.
that talk like?
We've always had those conversations, even when we were courting and dating and all of that. We dated for 6 years before we got married, and we got married in the seventh year. And we were married 6 years before we got pregnant with Sir Bobby, and we had him on the seventh year. So seventh is like our number. It takes a long time for us to move forward, but it's kind of like, it's planned, but it's not planned. It's God's timing, if that makes sense to you. So yeah, we had those conversations. So we finally, after 6 years of being married, we finally decided that that was the time. Actually, 5 years of being married, we thought that that was the time to kind of like plan on starting a family, because I was getting older. But that meant that I would need to do something different, with my previous employer, because I traveled so much. And I was, during that time also, I was still doing my own. I just started Sherie on Nevett as well, so I was doing two different things, running my own business and working for a fashion label as well, freelancing with them. So yeah, we finally decided to jump into it and start our family. And and the rest is history. We were blessed with a beautiful, beautiful baby boy, Sir Bobby the third.
All right, that is beautiful. So, the next thing I want to get into is like, I was very blessed to grow up in a two-parent household, and I know that you were too. And you actually get to see two different roles actually played out, and you get to see like a relationship, that I consider my parents' relationship like my example. Like they're like mentors for me. They've been married over 50 years. That's a long time. So I
Wow.
definitely take a lot of things from them and gain a lot of things from them and how they actually raised us. So, were there things from your childhood that you saw and experience that you actually implement into your household today as a wife and mom?
Absolutely, Shelley. The number one thing that I saw from my parents, and they were my examples and still are my examples, especially when it comes to family and marriage. We started off the day with prayer, and my parents were always praying for us, for the family, for loved ones. So I definitely pick that up from them. That's what we do today in terms of me and my family. We pray daily, but we definitely start our day as a family in prayer. And then, of course, just the another thing would be we just felt so much love from our parents. They were, my mom, of course, was so nurturing. My dad, he was definitely um, just all of the above in terms of just all of our rock stars, all of my siblings. There are four of us. Of course, he was a pastor. He still is a pastor, and but he was just such a loving man, and still a loving man, and just both parents had our best interests at heart. They always had our backs and still have our backs. So I already see that me doing that with Sir Bobby today, and of course, my husband does the same thing with Sir Bobby. So just being a loving family and being loving parents to our children, or to their children, which was us. I picked up and I have learned that from them. So I tell Sir Bobby and I tell my husband, all I have is love to give. I may not be, the best mom or the best wife, but I do know that I have love. So so those are the things that were instilled in me as a little girl. And I just, I want my home to kind of like mimic what my childhood was and my family household felt like. It felt like love. We felt the love from my parents. And I tell God a lot. I just tell him thank you for just allowing me to be born into a family such as myself. We love hard. So all of us do, all of my siblings and my parents. So I'm just so blessed to be just born in a family such as myself. I think I have the best family in the world.
Wow, that's so awesome. I love I love family, and I think that at the end of the day, family is all that you have, and it's important, and you have to
Yes.
put a lot of effort into maintaining the love and maintaining those bonds and the friendships because it's so very important. So I just really cherish family. Our family is very close as well. Like I
I
just
know. And
love.
that's why I think I'm obsessed with you guys. And I mean, so many different reasons, but I saw that from day one when Sasha introduced me to your family. I was just like, this is why I love her. Like she has a great foundation.
Yeah, and it's like it comes from the top down. Like my parents just, they are such wonderful, genuine, great people. And it's like they've always just instilled in us to be good people, to show love, to show it unconditionally. But they always did everything at home. First, they didn't say one thing and then do another when they were out. It's like
Right.
they were consistent. They were the same people all the time. So
Right.
with us, it's like what you see is what you get. Like it's genuine love, it's genuine bond, like it's
Yes.
genuine, like it's just
Mhm.
how we are. um, so I really, really cherish family, and we have a lot of good times together. And those are things that I implement in my household. So, like, what are some things that you and Bobby and Sir Bobby do together, like during your family time? What's like y'all's thing that y'all do?
Our number one thing would be we love to take walks. And I'm not like a, go hiking type of chick. That's not me. That's not what I mean. We live in the city and we live in the city for a reason because we walk to the grocery store. We walk to Starbucks. Pre-COVID, all of these places were open and, all of that. We walk everywhere. We can walk miles and miles and miles. So that would be probably just the small things. And that's so small to so many people, but it's so invaluable to us, especially now during COVID. Um, but even prior to us having Sir Bobby, that's what we would do. I would come home, or Bobby would come home on the weekends. We would see each other and we would walk, and talk, and just, share our dreams and our goals, and just, kitchen table talk, so that would be probably number one on our list. And Sir Bobby, he loves outdoors like we do. And he may like nature more than we do, but we love the city in terms of just walking and, just enjoying each other with walks. And then, of course, we love style. So shopping as a family is so much shopping for clothing and fashion, and it's so much fun for us. I mean, from thrifting with a family to shopping for your more luxury pieces. We don't discriminate, but we love to, and I shouldn't say we love to shop because we're not huge shoppers, but even if it's just window shopping, just enjoying the malls. I mean, anybody that would see us, I mean, you'll see us in a mall. No, but as I was saying, and then I think another thing that we love to do so much as a family, of course, obviously pre-COVID, we love to travel. We love to travel so much, whether it be domestically or internationally. So those are our things to do as a family.
Yeah. All right. So one thing I know that we talked about before was like you guys have movie night and you've been doing it a lot since COVID. So what are like have you changed your routine at all due to COVID? Like you do more things in the house now? And what are some things that you guys do together in the house?
Yes. So in the house, yes, I'm so over our house. I'm just like, can we please just be done with COVID? But yes, we love our thing right now is just we binge watch a lot. We watch a lot of movies. We are a movie family. Even Sir Bobby, his first movie experience probably when he was like 2 or 3 months. I know he was like a baby, but I needed to get out of the house. So we still watch a lot of movies as a family. I just last night we watched Coming to America, which was cool. And so yeah, that's our go-to thing. And then of course we are cooking like we've never cooked before. So cooking as a family is just exhausting, but it's also so much fun because we're cherishing so many moments. And we're going to have so many memories, so many pictures and videos of just a family, which I can't say, would be, if we would be this way if COVID did not take place, to be honest, because we were so consumed with, of course, careers and work and all of that. So COVID slowed us down a lot, and I'm thankful because we have these precious moments with Sir Bobby, and he's seeing us both parents in the home constantly around him 24/7 because we both work from home. So so cooking, cleaning, binge watching series and watching movies, that would be our go-to. Yeah.
And so how's it now, like now that you're a mommy as well as a wife and there's COVID, what is it like managing your business within all of this?
Great question. It's, pretty much I take it just one, I shouldn't say day, I take it one moment at a time because, every moment, every minute, every second, every hour is ever changing in our household. So, as I mentioned earlier, I've just learned to be flexible and try not to just stress out about the small things. So wasn't me before. I was stressed out before about just every little thing. But of course, again, Sir Bobby has taught me patience. So, so of course, Bobby, he has his office downtown, but he's back and forth,
Mhm.
home and not home. And then we have, now we have an in-home, teacher for some Sir Bobby as of probably. So that's really helped us a lot in terms of just focusing on both of our businesses. So I still monitor what's going on with his, homeschool teacher, but also too, it gives me a little bit of a breather. And Sir Bobby's, he's getting older, he's getting a little bit more independent, so we don't have to kind of like, monitor him 24/7, especially since we have that in-home help with his in-home teacher and his in-home nanny. So that's perfect for us. It's working out. Um, it's working out great. So far, so good. So we're fresh into it, but it's working out good for us. It's giving us a little bit more time to kind of like focus on our businesses.
That's great. That's awesome. So now we're going to do like some quick fire questions. It's the wife, me, mom, me, eight. So I'm just going to ask you these questions and you say the first thing that comes to your mind. So name one word that describes your husband.
Love.
Wow. Name one word that describes Sir Bobby.
It changes every day. I know this is supposed to be really quick, but it's so many words. He's just so kind. Kindness.
Awesome. What's the greatest lesson you've learned as a wife and mom?
The greatest lesson I've learned as a wife and mom would be to take care of self first more. Just I'm learning this every day. The more the older Sir Bobby gets, I'm just learning just kind of like when I wake up, focus on get some me time in first, and then everyone else and everything else in our household will fall in place. So if I'm not right, my household is not right. So taking care of me, spending that quality time with God in the morning, and checking emails or anything that I need to do for myself before the household wakes up. I'm an early riser, so I wake up anywhere between 3 and 4. I check text messages. So if you get a response at 3 a.m., you know why? Because I've just arisen and I'm checking my emails, I'm checking my text messages. So yeah, those are the things that I'm learning more and more, just to kind of like to keep balance and to keep sanity, just to kind of like make sure I'm right first thing in the morning. Take that quality time for myself first, and then everybody else will be happy if I'm happy.
Yeah, I agree. So, what is the greatest lesson you've learned? Oh, I just said that one. What's your biggest joy in being a wife and mom?
My biggest joy in being a wife and mom is just the quality time that I get to experience or to spend with my husband and my son. That's my biggest joy. Time, and I'm learning so much more. I mean, I've always been a person that I've been obsessed with life. I've always loved life. I've always loved to live. And I know, heaven is an amazing place, but I'm not ready to leave this earth yet. So, but during COVID, we have lost so many people, so many loved ones and friends and families my age, so that quality time with my husband and with my son, I eat it up as much as I can now. And I just, I embrace those moments where there just be, like I said, a movie night or, dinner or cleaning, like I said before, just cherishing every moment of during this time. And, once COVID is done with, and I believe it's going to leave very, very soon, I just want to just make sure that we just stay connected and I stay connected to those moments and cherish every moment with my son and with my husband.
Wow. So, what piece of advice would you give to wives and moms?
Going back to that previous statement, wives and moms, definitely make sure you're just, your self-care is so important, it's so valuable. Um, Again, like I said, I wake up early in the morning. I don't mean to sound selfish or self-absorbed, but you just definitely have to take care of yourself first, whether it be a spa day or getting a pedicure or a manicure or just a spa day at home, or just, lunch with your girlfriends or FaceTime with your sister or your brother, whatever means, whatever is important to you, I would say do that. Make sure you cherish those things, you embrace those things for yourself. Self-care is definitely important. That's the only way that you'll survive and your family will survive, I believe. And that's just for me. And that would be my advice to any wife and any mom. Don't lose sense of self. um, just remember who you are, remember who God has created you. Yes, He's blessed you with an amazing husband and amazing children, but also remember who you are, the giftings that God has given you, and and make sure you clean your like on a like hair, get your hair, don't lose sense of self. It's always good to just be cute, stay fly, for yourself first. And then, like I said, everybody else will benefit from your friends to your family to your loved one. Those are the little tips I would give to moms and wives out there.
So, what's one thing you would tell your younger self?
One thing I would tell my younger self would fear less, definitely fear less, um, and believe more. That's what I would definitely tell to my younger self. Um, you can't mix faith with fear and expect for an amazing outcome. It's either you're hot, you're cold. You can't be both. So I would definitely say, yeah, fear less. And there's nothing to worry about, especially when God is in the center of your world. You have nothing to worry about when you have Him in your life.
What's one thing you wish someone would have told you before you became a wife and mom?
One thing I wish someone would have told me was how exhausting being a mom is. Being a wife wasn't exhausting, but being a mom, OMG, it's just wow. It's a lot of work. My back hurts right now as we speak, and I'm speaking healing right now. I mean, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing Pilates, I'm on the elliptical, just to keep my energy for surviving. Like when I first became a wife, I was still just doing my thing. My husband and I, we were just, we were married, but we call ourselves independently married. We still had our own, lives that we lived. And even though we were married, so I still did me or whatever, and he still did him. And that's how it worked. And we knew that before getting married. But being a mom, it's just kind of like surviving. He doesn't care like who you are, what you're doing, a designer, author, a motivational speaker. He doesn't care about any of that. He wants his oatmeal when he wants it. He wants to play. He wants to do flips. He wants to jump on the couch. He wants to jump off the ceiling. He wants to hang off the ceiling fan. He doesn't care that mommy is about to just, heart attack and that I'm out of shape. And he doesn't care about any of that. So I'm glad I have my husband is a lot older, but he has way more energy than I do. So he helps out a lot in that aspect. But I wish someone would have told me how tiring it was. And I saw my mom, she took it like a champ. It was 4 of us. And she just, she was just like, I got this, but for me, it's work. And I'm just like, okay, I was never good with children. I knew nothing about children prior to having children. I never babysat. I have a godson. I have, 4 nieces.
Yeah.
4 nephews, but never babysat. I was just the aunt. They send, gifts and happy birthday and all of that. But being a mom is exhausting. So I wish someone would have really told me how exhausting it was. Being a wife, cool. I think I got that, because I'm like, Bobby, he's grown, whatever. Like,
yeah.
But a little one, it's so time consuming. They take everything out of you. So I'm tired.
Yes, you definitely have to give a lot. That's why when I hear moms like you say that they wake up so early, like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, like I'm not at that stage. Like I felt like it takes a while, this. It takes a while for you to kind of get back to yourself after you've given birth. Like you just feel like so out of whack because you are like a zombie for the whole first year and a half, because you're waking up at all times of night. If you're breastfeeding, that's another issue. If you're pumping, you're always pumping. You're either pumping or chasing after your child, or your child is throwing up on you, or there's just so many things. So it takes a while for you to get back to yourself. And now I definitely I need 8 hours of sleep. Like I just can't. I'm like, I've given up so much of my sleep. So I need the 8 hours. And when moms tell me they get up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, how do you do it? Because by the end of the day, with me getting 8 hours, I am completely wiped out by the end of the day. So I'm like, I need 8 hours.
No, I understand.
Sometimes the kids don't go to bed. Like last night, my son was up. He was just up. He's like a night owl. So somebody has to stay up with him. So it's like, I'm like, please go to sleep, please. But I have 4, so they're all doing their own.
Oh my goodness. And you're a super woman and you got this. I mean, you have a set routine. So it's 8 hours. I think everybody should get 8 hours of sleep. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but that's your self-care, your sleep, and sleep is so valuable. Don't get me wrong, but we try to go to bed early. Like we're in the bed very early.
That's good.
Unless we're traveling or whatever. But if we're at home, we're in the bed super early. Okay. So Bobby, if he stays on schedule and takes his naps like he's supposed to, which he typically does, he's in bed by 8:39. So that's when we're in bed, or I'm in bed anyway. Big Bobby, he's still up doing whatever. But so that's how I can wake up really, really early, because it just makes sure he goes to bed early. But yeah, to your point, you got it. You 4 children, you know exactly what you're doing. So I'm learning from you. Yeah. So talk to me next year. I'm sure I probably will be waking up later.
Yeah, I definitely, I cherish my sleep, and that is one thing that I do for self-care. But right now I want to get into like some fashion stuff, because I really want to.
Awesome.
What inspires your fashion and your creativity? Because you use a lot of color, a lot of layering. So what inspires you for that?
That's a great question, Sherie. Anything that's positive, inspires me. It can be from traveling to Tokyo or Paris or New York, or it can be anything from like fruit, an apple, like the color of an apple, or a mango, or a key lime, or kiwi, I should say. Everything inspires me. Friendship, love, family. I'm inspired by a lot, but I would say especially travel and art. Those are the things that I kind of pulled from, depending on which season or what collection. It could be some things like I'm inspired by, movies, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Audrey Hepburn, or it could be anybody from like Whitley from a different world. Like everything literally inspires me. And I would say my favorite era would be the 20s, the roaring 20s. It was just such a glamorous era. And I love that era so much. I mean, that's when women used to just really dress impeccable and dressed up every day around the house, doing nothing, just dressing up, just eating in the kitchen or whatever. So I love that era. So I try to pull a lot from that era, pull a lot from the 1950s and 60s, and I pull from the 80s. So those would be kind of like my top era in terms of fashion and in terms of culture and the evolution of fashion. But anything that's beautiful and positive that's from God inspires me.
Yeah, wow. So we're just gonna do like some fashion tips,
Okay.
like moms for women in general. Like, what's one piece of clothing you think every woman should own or have in their closets?
I would say every woman should have a little black dress, whether it be a sheath or a shift, or because with black is like even though I love color, I would say I wear black a lot, especially in the winter time, because you can dress it up or dress it down. You can wear it from day to night, casual to formal, wear it to work, wear it to a cocktail event, just depending on your accessories and, how you style it. So I think every woman needs a black dress for an interview or for church. You can take your black dress, that one black dress, wear it to an interview, wear it to church, wear it to funerals, wear it to a wedding, wear it to any cocktail event, wear it to any social event, that same little black dress, if it's the right silhouette, the right shape for you. So I think every woman needs that little black dress.
Little black dress. All right.
Yes.
So how can we stay modest? I know this is a big thing in the Christian community. So how can we stay modest and still be fabulous and fashionable and fly?
That's a great question. I would tell a woman, learn your body type. Because that, I have different answers for different shapes, different body types. But just to say the woman across the board, if you want to cover your arms or your cleavage, what I do, as you see now, I layer a lot, So for today, I didn't want to show my neck or, probably like my neck, my bone collar, or I didn't want to show my fat arms because I have those COVID arms right now, So I wanted to just layer. This is actually a sheath with an aggressive sleeve. So I just layered it with a turtleneck, to cover all of those, what I consider flaws in my own personal body. But every woman is different. If your flaws are your hips or your legs, or there's just so many different ways to do it. You can always layer. For that woman who's kind of like a pear shape, I say get you a great belt to accentuate the waist, your waistline, to provide that hourglass shape. For that woman who is very tiny, I used to struggle with this. I was so tiny, and I shouldn't say struggle, but yeah, I was really skinny. I was a skinny girl all the way up until COVID. So if you want to just, add a little shape, of course, get you a nice, just chic pencil skirt, high waist pencil skirt, to once again accentuate your waist and probably add you some patterns, maybe some, instead of vertical stripes, add you horizontal stripes if you want to look a little bit more curvier. Depending on the body type, I would just say you can just do so much and play around with the body. The body is so much fun to play with, and it's very easy to hide, those things that we consider, flaws. Clothing, the definition of clothing is just coverage. So you have clothing to cover you, to keep you modest, for church or whatever the occasion may be. So a woman can always be modest. If you're wearing a legging, I always tell a woman, especially leggings nowadays, the fabrics are so thin, so you can see straight through the fabric, which means you can see your flesh, your skin, which is not cute. I call it lazy dressing. You could always add a long tunic or a caftan to cover, to add that coverage, and wear it to church. It'll be appropriate for church. Just don't leave out with a crop jacket or a crop top with your leggings. Make sure you cover that bottom half, and you'll still be very chic, very fly, very modern, but very appropriate. Because unfortunately, first impressions are still everything. I got my first job because of what I had on at the age of 15, going on 16. So you still want to dress the part. Yes, we are in this COVID world, but don't get lazy. Still step it up. Still put on your red lips. Still put on a great Chanel earring, and still be fly. So I can just spend hours with this this topic of discussion. Next time we have to have a model, we can play around a little bit on how each body type is different and how to stay modest, keep it ladylike, but keep it effortless.
And that's the big thing, especially in today's society, when dressing sexy and looking sexy is like a big thing. But I think you can still be sexy and attractive, but be covered up. So like everyday items that we have, like say a t-shirt, say a long tunic, say leggings, like what are some ways we can just kind of jazz those things up? What can we add as far as accessories?
In terms of accessories, I tell every woman to get a great pump. A black classic or a nude, black or nude pump is so important for any of your essentials. Or any of those pieces that you kind of like wear on a daily basis. Get you a great belt, nude, black, and a pop of color. Also, I love, scarves and caftans are really important. And get you a great blazer that you can just dress up with or dress down with everything. So a pump will make a legging, a little bit more chic, depending on where you're going, what you're doing. A great blazer, of course, will kind of like bring, especially like a great double-breasted, black blazer, boyfriend, silhouette, would definitely bring up your legging game and your tunic game. Let's just say, because typically you see tunics and leggings paired back with, tennis or, sandals. But if you want to, just shit up a little bit, add your blazer, add your nice belt, add your nice heel, a nice pump, to kind of like complete that look. Your look is not complete until you have one or all of those items with that legging, with that tunic. So those would be kind of like my go-to everyday essentials. I think every woman should have those basics. And I always say black nude because you can just kind of like play a lot with those colors in terms of heels, in terms of belts, in terms of blazers, and then they will carry you so long and so far in life. And they're great travel pieces as well, travel friendly pieces. You can just go to, if you're traveling, when I travel so much, I used to just carry with me a little black dress, a black boyfriend blazer. Of course, I have my pump. I will carry like a tunic or a scarf or whatever. You just mix and match depending on where you're going, which meeting you're going to, how many days you're going for. You can just really travel with just a carry-on with those items, and they're very travel friendly.
Wow, this is so great and so helpful. I'm like just cheesing over here because it really helps to, a lot of wives and moms too get like kind of stuck in a fashion rut because you are running around with the kids and
I understand.
Like you get stuck in a fashion rut and you're like, oh my God, like I haven't dressed up in so long and I haven't looked cute in so long. But just taking everyday items that you already have and using them can spice it up for you. So
absolutely,
this is so helpful, and I know it's going to help so many women. And even though it is COVID right now, like I still like to get dolled up. And, I don't wear makeup and stuff every day, but I still have my days where I like to get dolled up and, take pictures, go outside and, just look cute. And I feel like you need to do that every now and then. Just dress yourself up and look cute, And
I'm glad you mentioned makeup because I'm not a big makeup person either. But a red lip also, that's another go-to essential. Every woman needs a red lip because you don't have to have on any shadow. For me, and of course, I'm sure my makeup experts would disagree, but a red lip has taken me a long way. Just put on a red lip, I promise you, it completes your look. It really, really does. So definitely a red lip. We have to add on to those essentials.
I totally agree with that because I'm not a big makeup person. Actually, my husband doesn't like makeup, which was one.
Same here.
Yeah.
My husband doesn't like makeup either. He's like, oh, I hate to see women with so much makeup. They look dead. Like they're in the casket.
Yeah, when I met my husband, he was like, "Why do you wear all of this?" He actually like took his finger and like rubbed it off. Like he was just like, "I don't like this on your face," you know. And I
Because you're
was like,
naturally beautiful.
well, I thought, you know, at the time I was like, well, you know, I wear makeup to feel, you know, cuter, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And you do kind of use it to hide flaws sometime, like if you have a
Right.
pimple or if you have,
Right.
you know, a blemish
Right.
that you want to
Exactly.
cover up. And he
I
was,
understand.
I'm not worried about all that. So I was like, okay.
And it's so funny because most men, they don't like, especially when you start dating and getting to like courting and dating and marriage and all that. It's like, you know, you don't need all of that. You know, they really like you just natural, which is like, hey, that's perfect because I hate doing makeup. I hate it so much. So yeah, but I love my red lip. I can't go anywhere without my red lips. even behind my mask. You should see all of my masks. They're all filled with like red lips.
So I've enjoyed so much talking to you today, Sherie. This has been such a pleasure, and I definitely want to have you back to talk more about fashion and dressing up and body types. And I would just love to have you back on. But I want everyone to know how to get in touch with you. Where are you at on social media? What's your website? How can they get in touch with you and actually purchase some of your fashion?
Well, thanks again for having me, Shelly. I appreciate that. You've been so much fun. Your viewers can follow me on Instagram at Sherie L. Nevett, and my website is SherieLNevett.com. So that's how your viewers can follow me. And thanks again for your time. I've had so much fun.
Yes, this was awesome. So thank you everybody for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button to catch more Wife Me, Mom Me interviews, and make sure that you go to Instagram. I will link it in the description below, and follow Sherie L. Nevett and visit her website and check out her fashion. We love you guys, and we will see you in the next video.
Ciao. Bye.